Hey, fire signs. Thanks for dropping in with me. We are going to be diving into a little quest tarot for you where we're going to feel out how this Mars Uranus Algol conjunction is going to be playing out in your realm and how you can take best advantage of the energies and opportunities on offer. This is also for any significant placement in Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or any of those houses, which would be the first house, the fifth house, or the ninth house, as well as the rising signs, Libra, which is Aries descendant, rising sign Aquarius, which is the Leo descendant sign, or Gemini rising, which is Sagittarius's descendant. Any of those placements can factor in here. This energy that's coming in that will be kicked off on the 15th, so just a couple days from now, is going to set in motion a chain of events that will really lead us up to that sort of culmination point of the first initiation gateway that we're traveling through, that will be coming in with a full moon on the 21st in the sign of Capricorn. We've been talking a lot about this mirror moon energy. So let's just dive into it, okay? The download that I got for you is that you are working with matters that are in the palm of your hand, okay? And it came through making me think of palmistry initially, and how we have these lines in our hands, right? These lines that tell us about our heart and tell us about our head, and they tell us about our fate and our life, and it gives us certain information about our makeup, what we're working with, potentialities, really. That's all they are. They're potentialities. And we may like to go and get our palm read. We may like to have our fortune told. But ultimately, at any given time, the creative power to be the author of our life is in our own hands. And we do have free will. And this carries more weight than we often give it credit. We sort of assign ourselves to certain fates. We sort of assign ourselves to certain roles, certain stations in life. But there's this awakening happening in you fire signs where you're starting to really feel the activation of the creator. It made me think of this particular Kriya that's done first thing in the morning. And it's devoted to the Tridevi. It's devoted to Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Parvati. And you look into the palm of your hands. And the whole purpose of the Kriya and the mantra is to basically recognize that creative power is in your hands. Your hands are the hands of the goddess, is basically what it's exemplifying. And it's a beautiful, very gentle, very sweet mantra that holds a lot of power. It's also a very powerful practice to just start your day, just a few minutes working with the mantra and looking into the palm of your hands. I'll go ahead and I'll put the link, I'll pin it in the comments. This might be something you want to do, just play the mantra. There's a beautiful rendition of it that I like to tune into. It's nice to have just sort of playing in your home, but the mantra is Keragri Vasati Lakshmi Keramachi Saraswati Keramule tu Govinda Prabhati Karadarshanam. And you look into your palms as you're saying it, and it invokes that power of creativity into your hands, so that as you go about your day, everything you do, everything you touch, everything you interact with, you're recognizing, you have this full awakening in the moment that, oh, I hold this creative power. I'm creating my world into being right now. And I do feel like this is what's coming in for you with this particular conjunction we got going on here. It will come in like a bolt out of the blue. You might even feel an activation in your hands that you've never felt before. This could feel electrical. This could feel like heat. This could feel like being able to really sense energy with your hand, almost in the way that you can like form energy with your hands. Have you ever done this? Like clap your hands together and generate some heat. You can kind of experiment with me right now and just see if you can feel it. If you separate the energy a little bit, you can feel the particles, that which is not yet in physical manifestation form, vibrating. Now, if you hold this energy, you play with this energy, you give it a form, you create a power ball, so to speak, you can infuse your intentions in that and release it. This is just giving you something to play with. It would be really potent, actually. I've never thought of that, but that's a whole new level of Kriya there. It's like a little bit of a Discordian Kriya. We're adding a little adjunct there. You could work with that mantra, that Kriya practice, looking into the palm of your hands, working with that mantra, even just a few rounds, even just listening to it, right? And just meditating for a moment on your creative power, and then you can finish it off like that. Ooh, I like that. I like that. You might want to experiment with that a little bit. I feel like this is what's happening. It's an activation of the creative power in your hands, and you're going to be recognizing that you have more power, that you hold more power than you thought you did. And I think when this comes in, it brings with it a choice, okay? I see you kind of like that Two of Pentacles. It's sort of like, you're weighing it out a little bit. How should I use this power? Because there's like almost an instant recognition that there's great responsibility with it. It's a lot of power. It has the ability to affect major change. I feel like major change in your life, major change in the life of others. And there's something like there's no going back after this, okay? So it's a very, I want to call it a pregnant moment. That's what it feels like. There's just so much like right potential there. But we also know that with birthing anything into being, there's also the fair share of labor pains that come with that. And there's also a little bit of that gestation period. So it's interesting because I feel like this moment's going to come in like a bolt out of the blue. Something's going to happen. It takes you by surprise. You recognize, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I have all this power. I have the power to radically change my life, like right here and now. And it's like coming in at the 11th hour. And that 11th hour before it strikes midnight, that most magical hour of all, it's going to feel like you're holding eternity in an hour. You know, it's interesting because I got that poem by William Blake that came in for you. It's called Auguries of Innocence. And I think of innocence, and it always makes me think of children, okay? It makes me think of their ability to look at the world without bias, without preconceptions, without all the belief system stuff in the way, and sort of just get back down to the simplicity of things and see the magic and wonder in the world again. And I feel like you're going to have auguries of this. You're going to have premonitions. You're going to have synchronicities that are coming in that will highlight to you that you are actively co-creating this, that you're not separate from the creator. And once you realize that, it's like the moment it comes in, I'm almost seeing you like, almost like looking at your hands and being like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? It could be somebody puts an opportunity right in your hands. It could be that you're gifted something. It could be something you're actually holding in your hands. It could be a baby. I mean, this just coming in for some of you, okay? Maybe a birth comes earlier than was expected. Baby can be symbolic as well. Maybe an arrival point comes before you expected it. 10 on the clock when I brought that in. All right, we're going to dive into this and we're going to check it out. And, I think there's also this piece here about really trusting your own intuition that's coming through. It's like we can go get readings. We can go get our palm read. We can, you know, grok, you know, information, get a lay of the land. and insight from others who also mirror what truly we already know ourselves, right? That's what happens when we experience resonance in a reading. We're like, yeah, I feel that. Like that's the energy I recognize within myself. So even when you're receiving a reading, it's still coming back to you. You're able to recognize whether the message is for you, or if that's not your message at that time, or what parts are speaking to you and how they're speaking to you. So there's something about this, like really respecting your own interpretation of your life, what your heart feels, what's going on in your head. 11:11 on the clock. Okay, maybe you need to get your head and your heart in proper alignment. Right now, they might be a little out of sync. Okay, you might be kind of still in that place of trying to make a choice. You're trying to choose the wise choice, the responsible choice, but maybe your heart tells you something different, and what your heart tells you feels too risky. 11:33 on the clock. Okay, there's some kind of assistance coming in here. There's something coming in here that's almost going to force your hand. That's what it feels like, okay? Do read that poem, Auguries of Innocence, William Blake. It has much to teach you. I feel like you're going to be living that poem. It feels very bardic to me. It feels very inspired to me. I also feel like your muse is going to be activated. Like what you're seeing happening, unfolding, there's just such incredible design in it. Even though it seems so random, it feels so perfectly like in tune and orchestrated. There's something about this that will activate your muse as well. It will inspire you creatively. All right, we're going to dive into this. Let's just have a deeper look at it. And I do want to tell you that I'm looking outside the window and there's a web there. There is, but you know what's in the center of the web this time? There is a big old dandelion seed head. Woo! And with that, just had a raven fly up. Must have been like hanging out on the ground out there because it flew up from the ground, like straight up. Wow. Oh, yes. Magic's afoot. Okay. Raven is the medicine of magic. It's associated with Libra. Okay. So, oh, I like that. Came up from the ground. So I feel like you're transforming something here. You're freeing yourself of, the South Node energy. I feel like you've balanced out a certain karmic cycle. And I think this is a wish activation, and it's just about to make contact with that cosmic web of creation and ripple out here. This is going to have far-reaching effects. You may have given up on a particular wish, some of you, and it's finally, it's finally ready to be actualized. The power will be put in your hand to actualize it. You may have thought you missed this. You didn't, okay? This is very interesting. Let's check it out and see what we got. All right. So what is the nature of this quest? Let's get some more details here for the fire sign energies. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Oh, yeah. I like this. You're not trapped. You're not stuck. You stop telling yourself those stories. There might have been a time in your life when you were more prone to blame other people. There might have been a time in your life when it was easier to like pass the buck, look at what somebody else did to you, make them be the cause of your suffering, put them in the role of scapegoat. I think you got tired of it. I think you got bored of that. I see that you are freeing yourself from a self-imposed, prison, somewhere where you have been held up way too long because you convinced yourself that all of your choices were in the hands of others, that you didn't have the power or the authority to take some action here. You might have also been really actively restraining yourself from taking an action, like really trying to hold back. And there's something here about breaking free. So I like that as a starting point. That's excellent. Let's get some more details about this particular quest for the fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Woo! What is that? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, no more fighting for inequities. Yeah, you know, you may have felt like you were put in situations where you were pitted against others' desires, others' needs, others' wants. You kind of were just sort of like accepting the bare minimum here. Maybe at times you felt like you were being breadcrumbed, you know? You felt like you were just getting the leftovers of life. You realized how this was really just like snuffing out your passion, snuffing out your motivation, your sense of purpose here. I see you dropping the fight. You're not going to fight for something. The way I just heard it, you're not going to fight for what won't fight for you. And that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Maybe that's all you ever wanted was for somebody to, you know, mirror you in passion, mirror you in purpose, mirror you in motivation. Maybe you felt like that's what was missing. Maybe you feel like you were dealing with a situation or with a person where they gave the best of themselves, you know, to everything else, everyone else, and you just kind of got what was left over in the situation. And you began to realize it was just causing you more drama, more stress, more resistance, you know? And you let it go. You let it go. You let it go, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I feel a lot more free. I feel a lot more free. So I think you're preparing to give up a particular fight. You don't need somebody else to like balance it out for you, to make it right for you. You're balancing that out yourself by just dropping it. You know, you're not forcing a fit here. You're creating something altogether new. All right. This could have been in relation to a water sign energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. This could also be in relation to a situation where you never really could get to the heart of the matter. Like you didn't know how somebody else felt, or you couldn't really get your heart on board. Like there's some part of yourself, some part of your true essential nature that maybe you even had to suppress. You had to hide or hold within. This could also be some kind of creativity that you want to share that for one reason or another, you felt like you had to keep a lid on it. Maybe because of what it reveals, maybe because of the vulnerability of that, or the speculation it opens up, or how others perceive it. There could be many different reasons for this, but I feel like this is what you're moving away from. It's like, I can't contain the things in my heart anymore. I have to move beyond this, okay? Let's see what the nemesis, the challenger, or the spirit ally is on this quest, which truly even the challengers are allies. It is a quest you're going on your own. Only the light within will guide you. Some may consider you eccentric as you head down this path, truly embracing the Uranus energy, okay? I feel like you might be the odd man out, okay? You are going your own way. You're trusting your own vision here. I also feel like this is a deeply spiritual passage for you. Ooh. And with this, I have to say, the way that just popped up, what do we got right behind it? We have the Emperor. Okay, so this is really stepping into your destiny. You can't necessarily explain why you feel called in this direction. Some of you may be encountering a person who has some position of power. Maybe they hold worldly power, but their worldly power also holds the key to a deep soul desire you have. This could be somebody who also is some kind of authority or some kind of teacher. This could even be somebody that you might feel is challenging, or somebody that you feel like you have to, it's coming through as like feeling like you have to like get past this person, like almost like this person's obstructive. But maybe there's a misunderstanding of the power here, and I feel like that's what's being activated. There's a balance of power in this situation. The expression is different. I feel like there is somebody, a very influential figure here, that has come to teach you a very powerful spiritual lesson. And there is a level up that happens here as well in like the material reality. There's material advancement. There's advancement in the world. It is the activation of some wish, some dream, something you want to see come into fruition. Power is on offer, but you definitely have to be willing to kind of put yourself out there on your own as well. And I think this is what this character invokes within you. You know, they invoke this sense of having to rise to a particular challenge. Like this person makes you like show up in the way that you need to activate a certain vision where you can reclaim something that at one time felt like it was lost forever. This is about aligning with your truth. And it may involve you speaking a particular truth to a person here that actually settles a certain cycle in your spiritual growth with this soulmate. Okay, it could be somebody that's coming in as a soulmate. This is somebody that can be a guide, that can be a teacher on your path, and that can come in many different forms. So be open to how the teacher shows up on the path. And the teacher always shows up once you're ready to receive the teacher. So there's something about this. This teacher can come in many different disguises, all right? The teacher is always the same teacher. It's the energy, the archetype of the teacher. It can take on the form of a stranger that you have a conversation with as you're, you know, walking down the street to get to the garage where you parked your car, okay? It can be your boss. It can be somebody you're in an argument with, that you're having a lot of challenges with. This can be with a lover, okay? It can come in many different forms, but there's something here that causes you to really know that you have to stand in your truth. And maybe it is even against some self-perceived outside authority. It's when your inner authority becomes more important here. This is reclaiming something that felt lost. Three of Swords is an interesting card because though there may be this sense of loss, usually with the Three of Swords, it's more of a temporary situation. It's like there's a loss in this moment, but there's some kind of renewal on the other side of this, okay? And I feel like this person sort of comes in to challenge you to actually live from your truth, you know? There's something about whatever happens with this individual that strengthens you in your own integrity. And I do see an important truth being communicated here. Okay, very interesting. And like I said, this could just be an earth angel, you know? You're walking down the street, you bump into somebody, you have a random conversation, and there's something they drop on you. And in that moment, you know, you just have that moment of like samadhi, you know, this moment of like bliss, awakening, you know, you see things differently. It's very interesting, okay? All right, let's see here. What is the lay of the land in this particular quest for the fire signs? What's the lay of the land? What do they need to be aware of about what's up ahead here? Bottom of the deck. You will have to invest in a direction. You can't just sit and hold the power in your hands. You're actually meant to share the power. And the way you share the power is by bringing the power you hold into creation, into existence. There's some seed you have to plant here. There's an opportunity that's being given to you, but you have to act on the opportunity or the opportunity does nothing, you know? Nothing grows from it, and you are meant to grow. This is something that's meant to be shared with a greater network, especially with that image of the dandelion seed head out there, the wish, you know, coming in that's caught in that web. It's like, this is supposed to be shared with others. It's something that is beneficial for the collective. You may not realize that. Small things end up having greater ramifications than you realize right now. Yeah, you know, we got the Three of Cups in reverse here. So I do feel like there's still like this sense of bitterness that's being held on to. There's some kind of feeling of, it's really coming through as like FOMO, like, why am I not invited to the ball? Okay, that's kind of like how it feels. Like, where's my celebration? You know, where's my arrival point? Why am I always celebrating what other people got going on? When do I get an opportunity to have some fun myself, kick up my heels, feel alive again, feel full of enthusiasm for my life again? When's my time coming? Okay. I feel like that's kind of how you're moving into this energy. Yeah, you're really feeling like you've been, you know, left off the guest list. You know, you're kind of like going through some hard times, bitter tea. You want to feel like you're a part of something again. For some of you, it's just like feeling like you're a part of your life again. I mean, we got your energy coming in really strongly here. Fire signs, okay? Yeah, you're wanting your fire to be lit again. You're wanting to feel motivated. I feel like, you know, this is about reclaiming your fire. It's also Leo energy coming in really strongly here. I think about Leo and I think about that fifth house. It's like, yeah, can I have some pleasure? Can I have some fun? Does it always have to be a grind? Do I always have to work so hard? Does everything have to be a struggle? When do I get to just like have a good time? You know, kick up my heels a bit, enjoy myself. Enjoy the pleasures of my life. Enough with the pain. Where's the pleasure? You know, I need a little hedonism here. That's kind of how it's coming out. I think you're in a quest for this. I feel like this is what's opening up for you. Oh yeah, and it's coming in with a quickness. Like before you know it, you're going to be off. You're going to be off toward, you know, your north node. There's some kind of news that comes in here. It comes in very rapidly, and it does get you moving. I think you will be very excited. Please do remember with the Knight of Swords, though, there can be a little bit of impulsiveness, right? So, you know, the idea here is to sort of like learn what you can from this Emperor energy. Could be dealing with an Aries, could be dealing with a Taurus, okay? But the energy here is very much about understanding that there's only one way you get to be the Emperor. You know what I mean? There's only one way you get to be in this place where you really get to be seated in that throne. And you also have to think about, you know, that's a hot seat. It is. It's a hot seat. There's a lot about the power that's held in that position, the wise uses of that power. And so there's something to be considered here, because to really step into that position, it's not just about, you know, arriving there and how good it feels to arrive. There's also understanding the responsibility of that position, and that it does require a certain level of self-mastery. You can't move recklessly. There does need to be discernment, clarity coming in here. So I feel that there is some excitement here. You might be working with somebody in like sort of like a mentorship capacity, or it, like I said, it's got like some kind of spiritual teaching coming into that's a bit of tempering energy, like a tempering of the sort of like, it's really coming through as just like that kind of like carnal, like hedonistic, like I just want to have a good time, you know? And it's interesting because it makes me think of Ayurveda, and it makes me think of Pitta and Pitta types, fire types. They very much like to reward themselves with luxuries and indulgences and pleasures. It's how they operate. They're like, look, I work really hard. I show up. I handle everything. I take care of everything. I always got so much pressure, and I'm always like working down to the wire. You know, I'm going to have some fun. And I feel like that's kind of what this is. It's sort of like you've been grinding it out for a long time. And just when you thought, you know, this is as good as it gets, man, I'm just slogging it out here, there's something that comes in here that makes you feel like a surge of power, like, wow, I really have this opportunity. Like everything can be different now, to the extent that it could have you like chomping at the bit a bit, that could make you a little bit reckless. So I do feel like this is something that you do need to be aware of with this matter, okay? Let's go ahead and check out what the meat of the matter is, okay? We need to really know what's in between these two full moons that form the bread of that sandwich that we're taking a bite into, okay? We don't want it to be a shit sandwich. That's all I know. It's like, can it be a Monte Cristo maybe? That's my favorite sandwich. I'd like a Monte Cristo, please. It's been forever since I had a Monte Cristo, okay? Yeah, this is about the work to be done, okay? It's about the right way to lay down the foundation that something can really grow from. It's also about learning how to be firing on all cylinders here, you know, everything in alignment, everything in sync, which is something that really happens in the present moment when we don't get too ahead of ourselves. This is about being like a well-oiled machine. It's mind, body, spirit on lock, okay? And I do feel like this alignment point is coming in for you. And there is work. There is a certain level of a framework around this. There is a certain level of foundation that needs to be in place here. And I really feel like this foundation is about self-mastery, discernment, you know, it's about using the wisdom of maybe times when you were too impulsive in the past, or you had a knee-jerk reaction, or you just sort of like went with the moment because it seemed like fun, and then you really paid a high price for that. So I feel like this is something that you do need to be aware of in this situation, okay? It's also like other people involved in a particular dynamic too. How can you bring the energies together harmoniously? Yeah, especially if you feel like somebody in this situation is a little too stuck, a little too defensive, a little too prone to wanting to do things only their way. And this doesn't create room where you can co-create together. I feel like you might be coming into alignment with others that you are supposed to, you know, bring something into being with. And there is a need to balance out this energy too, where it can feel like it's more sharing of power rather than a hoarding of power. Do be careful of this, because this can be a tripping point, especially if you feel like you've been in a disempowered place. Sometimes you get power put in your hands and then you're like, woohoo, you know, and then you get a little too big for your britches and it can be a problem. So this is just something to be mindful of in this situation, okay? Let's see here. What are the consequences of past actions that will need to be dealt with as the fire signs traverse this particular territory to get to that arrival point of the first initiatory gateway, the culmination of that on the 21st with the full moon there. Something to do with the soulmate, something that needs to be balanced up from the past, you know, something here that perhaps has been left behind that needs to be reprised. This could also be a consequence that involves like coming into alignment with a particular person too, right? Or with a particular dream. Maybe it's a dream you had since childhood. This could be something from way back, something that you completely forgot about that's ready to be activated now. We did have that child piece come in. So maybe that child being held in the hands, maybe that's like the young part of you, you know, that needs you. Ooh, I like that. That needs you, the you who has gone your own way in the world and achieved a certain level of wisdom and a certain level of self-mastery. Maybe it's recognizing the master within you. Ooh, I got master maker energy. I think you can look it up online. I had the deck. It's back in California. But Brian Proud has a fairy oracle deck. And there is a fairy in that deck called Master Maker. And I do believe he has a site where you can look up the individual fairies in that oracle. Do look up Master Maker. I feel this is the energy you're working with here. I still feel there's some activation point that comes in with a teacher, which can take many different forms. But this teacher is really coming in almost like to illuminate the light you hold within. You don't, you know, it's got like that guru, G-U-R-U energy. You don't need somebody else to guide you. You got everything you need inside of you. You just need to take that little light and let it shine, all right? So this is sort of like soulmate energy that's coming in here though. So somebody that you are meant to link up with, a path that you're meant to link up with. I believe even like our paths have soul. There's like the soul of the path, you know what I mean? And the path that others have tread before you, this kind of energy. This could have you aligning with, you know, interesting. This could be something also related to your ancestors as far as those consequences. It's like a fulfillment of something ancestrally, maybe something that wasn't completed. Maybe you're a generational curse breaker. Interesting energy coming in there. Okay, what are these consequences from past actions that will be greeted by the fire signs as they head down this road? What are the consequences of past actions? Okay, got here. Right, so there's some kind of burden that needs to be dropped here, right? There is still a responsibility that needs to be fulfilled. I got that, okay? And there's like an avoidance. It's almost like you've taken your hands off of it. You got tired of carrying a particular like karmic load, this burden, and you don't realize that it's like once you actually address this, instantly everything lightens up, okay? So there is something here. There is something that you need to bring to a culmination point that you haven't yet. It's been delayed, all right? I feel like you've cut yourself off from this, and yet it's something that still remains to be done. There's sort of like this message coming through that until you bring this to completion, something you know it's your responsibility and you have to fulfill it. Until you do this, you're still going to be stuck in that south node, okay? So you do have to be aware of it. You're not going to get to bypass that, all right? You're not going to get to. You do have to deal with it, I have to say, okay? What is the power to be gained through mastery, through that self-mastery, if the fire signs can do this and actually fulfill this responsibility, which, you know, it may be a responsibility that's sort of been put on you. It could be the responsibility of your bloodline. It's like, it's something you're here to do. It could be that you're a generational curse breaker, like I was saying. It might be a lot to step up into. I have to say, you might feel like it's a lot of responsibility to take on this position, to level up to this. It might feel easier to just sort of stay in the safety zone. There's something here about really rising up to the challenge, even if you sort of feel like, ooh, can I really do this? It's like it's being put in your hands because you're fit for it, and it's part of your destiny. Let's see what this is here. Yeah, look at this. It's got the sun in reverse, okay? This hasn't come in yet. This hasn't come in yet, but it does have something to do with your ability to step in a particular spotlight, your relationship to success. You say you want success, or you say you want a certain happiness, or you have a certain wish of, you know, heading off into that sunset. And yet there's a part of you that also resists it at the same time because of the burden of it. There's something about it that feels burdensome. I feel like this is directly related to something from your past that never fully got brought to completion, or some responsibility that you didn't fulfill. And this is the clincher here. It's something that you need to understand. You need to understand so you can reclaim this happiness. It's like spending too much time like with the shadow, integrating the shadow. Enough shadow work already. It's time for your light work. Maybe you're more comfortable in the shadow. Maybe you're not comfortable being in the spotlight. There's something here where it's going to be on you one way or another. Do you want the spotlight to be on you because it's highlighting the shadowy aspects, the stuff you've wanted to keep hidden? Or are you going to just fully show up and represent who you are? It's like kind of coming through like that, okay? All right, interesting. I mean, that's a lot of power potential there. So I want to see what this power actually is, though. All right, woo. Okay, it's hinging. It depends, you know. Can you bring it to completion here? It has everything to do with the activation of your soul path, and it could be coming through a soulmate. It could be something here, you know. that you felt like you haven't had the courage or the strength to actually rise up to this challenge. This is sort of like calling yourself down for the count. But I feel like there's going to be a reason to rise here, all right? Look at this. And this is growth for you. This is fulfillment for you. This is alignment for you. This is beautiful energy. It's like that pre-empress, pre-emperor energy, right? This is really fulfilling your personal destiny. So I think you got what it takes. I mean, that's quite a bit of power to be gained here, okay? I wouldn't throw that away. What's at stake? What's at stake for you in your life? What's at stake for you in your life? And it looks like some other people involved in this situation. So your loved ones, you know, your close connections, those who are meant to, you know, join you on this next leg of the journey. What's at stake here? Interesting. It's interesting the way the shuffling's been coming in around this. It's like so much that wants to be revealed, but is like being held in. It's like maybe you even find yourself in positions like that where you feel like, well, I really want to open up and I want to share this, or maybe I want to reach out to this person, or maybe I want to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring for this opportunity, but then you kind of like pull back last minute. It's like, it's almost like, you know, one step forward, two steps back, you know? Yeah, you know, I think that you're still in a process where you've probably been trying to recover from something that felt like a real disappointment to you. You probably have felt like a little blasé about life for a while. I got this vibe with you, like things may have felt just like a little bit dull or something, you know? It's like there's not the spark there. There's not the spark. The spark's coming. We know that. You need your fire to come forward here. There is this coming in, all right? But you have to be able to recognize it. You have to be able to see it, right? You could also be having difficulties with some closure. Could be, you know, difficulties with the way something went down with somebody special in the past. This could be kind of lingering for you. Yeah, it could be maybe you were open to like a new beginning in love, or maybe you thought a particular direction you were investing in was going to be your fulfillment, and then you ended up just feeling really drained by it. You feel like it took a lot from you. It didn't pour anything back into you. But see, this is the fulfillment of this being offered to you here. It's like Spirit saying, I'm giving you this Ace of Cups. Maybe you didn't get it last time, but are you ready to receive it now? You got your arms crossed. You have to be open to receiving. Okay, so this is a challenge that you might have to work through here. And it could be that accepting this opportunity is exactly what brings the healing for those that, you know, you felt close to, and brings that celebration you were wanting, brings that sense of, you know, unity or rectification of what went awry, what went wrong back there. But you won't know unless you take this opportunity. So it might come in through some kind of communication. Okay. And with that, we got that 9 of Pentacles. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity for you to really step into your empowerment in the world. It's for you to really take that position and say, I've risen above what chained me in the past. I have self-mastery here. That's another meaning of this Devil card, Capricorn energy here, okay? And normally on the cardinal cross, Capricorn is in the North Node position. So it's interesting because I feel like this is everything about you coming into that place of personal empowerment and not being sort of like chained to, you know, maybe things you're not proud of in the past, or chained to vices that used to have control over you, or 44 on the clock. You know, some of you are going through a real recovery process. Some of you are recovering yourselves. You know, you're calling the wounded parts of you back. And in doing so, you know, you're finding this sense of personal empowerment. And for you, look at this. It's like 7 of Swords in reverse, okay? It's all about nothing high. This is me. This is who I am. And I'm showing up as I am. And I don't have anything to fear here, all right? And look at this, bottom of the deck, Justice, okay? We got Capricorn energy here. We got Libra energy here. We got Virgo energy here. Taurus, Aries energy. Just looking at all the energies that have come in so far. Okay, all the fire signs showed up really strongly. This is, you know, really about rising up out of the South Node. This is finding that balance. You know, you're finally dropping all the heaviness around the grief, around what hasn't felt fair, where you've had loss, you know, all the hurt places, all the lack of fulfillment. And you're finally experiencing the lightness of being that comes when you live by the sword. You know what I mean? Look at the sword in a different way. It's Fragarok, you know? It's not the sword that wounds. It's the truth that sets you free, all right? And it's really interesting the way that's coming in. Beautiful energy there, okay? What's at stake for, you know, this new world you're bringing into being? Okay, this can be like a motivating point for you. What's at stake for this new world you're bringing into being? Oh my gosh. Ace of Cups. So you didn't lose anything. The problem is you weren't ready to receive it. You weren't ready to step into the responsibility of it. You weren't ready to hold the power of it, to experience the power of this moment, you know? But this does feel like a little bit of deliverance, I have to say, you know? It's something coming in to fill all the empty places. And it cleanses you of all that heavy energy and it brings you back into alignment. This is some beautiful gift from Spirit here. This is potent energy, okay? Let's see. Let's give you some more enthusiasm here. Yeah, I mean, we do have Hangman energy here. So I know you've been at the crossroads. I know you've been trying to get a different view of a situation. I know you've been considering things for a while. This definitely could be a karmic matter, you know, with that house of Pisces. You could have been dealing with the Pisces in this situation. But there's something that you're ready to get moving here now, all right? Let's look at what the cookie is. What is the reward? If it can kind of be like the motivating factor, like that golden carrot that can make you feel like you're ready to, you know, leap into this opportunity, this time, that you're not going to hold yourself back, but you're actually ready to open up to your destiny, you know? What's on the other side of laying down the burden, you know, and really realizing that, no, I am ready to show up and live as I know that I'm meant to live. It's like living out loud. You're ready to live out loud. Yeah. Oh, I love it. And right with that, we got the King of Wands came out. There's that fire. Okay. And look at that. I love this. I'd say I love this with the Hierophant in reverse. I say this because you're bucking convention here. You are. You're not letting anything outside of you be your intermediary with Spirit. You're trusting that Spirit works through you. You're not letting anybody else have authority over your choices, over what your heart needs, what your head tells you is the wisest course of action. You're not going to let anybody else put their BS in your head. You know, you're going to come to your own choices, your own views of situations, and you're going to share those views. You're not going to succumb to fate. You're going to take the hand you're dealt. You're going to spin it. You're going to transform it. You're going to make it what you want to be, and you're going to live your life on your terms. You did it your way. You know, I love this. This is like rebellion against every should that's ever been put on your shoulders. I love this energy. I do. And again, it's that thing like, I don't need a guru. If you've been dealing with the Taurus here, I don't need a guru. I don't need somebody to tell me what to do. I know what I need to do. On the other side of that, you know, look, we got the glamour, the illusion, you know, the illusion that's kept you separated, that's kept you in that place of not being able to actually step into the sun, because you've always been wandering through, you know, the darkness, or keeping certain parts of you hidden, you know, not actually allowing yourself to radiate in that light, be seen as you are, you know, and really step into the empowerment of it. This is like the glamour, the illusion that's being shed. And you're really realizing that you hold the power here. I love it. The Magician, that's that Aries North Node activation. This is a strong action you're going to take. I feel like this lands in your hand. You're going to work with it. You're going to use it. You're going to take this action. I don't see you holding back. You're going for the full on, whole enchilada, the transformation, and it's beautiful. Okay, big Aries energy, also Aquarian energy there. Could be an Aquarius rising, which makes you a Leo descendant. This is good. Really good energy. That's a pretty big cookie, okay? I like it. What's the target? Okay, what's the target of this campaign for the fire sign energies? What is their target? What should they keep their focus on? I love it. It's so beautiful. Just the fact that you got this open road. You got the whole world in your hands. What are you going to do with it? What do you want it to be? Dream it into being. Don't dream it. Be it. You know, it's time for you really to embody your future self living in that dream. Actualize it. See it in the palm of your hands. You know what I'm saying? Role play it. What if you had everything that you desired? And when I say this, it's not about focusing on a particular person or focusing on a particular destination. More consider the qualities. You know, how do you want to feel? You know, do you want to be in a state of abundance in your life? Do you want to be able to have the freedom to kind of like go off on adventures and be a little, you know, released from too much responsibility? Do you want to, you know, be in a place where you feel really healthy and fit? You know, do you want to go and explore new aspects of yourself? Like what would that look like to really step into the activation of your dream and then play it, go ahead, shift the way you dress, you know, shift the way you show up, play with the energy and watch what happens here. Okay, there's something about your powers of really calling something into being through visualizing it are quite strong right now. Okay, so keep your focus on where you're going. All right, not where you've been, where you're going, and keep your focus on how you're using your creative energy, which I think will be very apparent to you just by the way your environment will be responding to you. Do remember that your environment, what you're seeing playing out in your life, on some level is reflecting like a mirror something back to you. So use that to your advantage. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, polish it. Okay, yeah. Because right now, it's not in alignment. To bring this in alignment, it's promised, but it's still hiding, okay? It's still hiding in that need to transform what's at the South Node and actually rise up into the potential to achieve this alignment. So this is about calling in something that is not here yet, but trusting that you already have everything you need to bring it into being. And there's a real legitimate opportunity coming in here to do this. So since the means of expansion that is coming in with this particular energy is 30 degrees Libra, which deals with 3 mounds of wisdom, we're going to see what 3 mounds of wisdom you need to tap in order to make best use of the energies on offer leading up to the full moon. They get kicked off with this Mars-Uranus conjunction. Interesting. You have to fulfill that responsibility. First of all, there's some kind of wisdom that can only be gained by doing something that you know you need to do. You've been putting it off and putting it off, and all you're doing is like slowing yourself down because you're still carrying the burden of what needs to be completed here, the work that needs to be done here. So this is a certain weight you're carrying, and however that's, you know, speaking to you is how it's speaking to you. Trust as it's coming through at this time, okay? There's something here about being fit for the road ahead requires that you drop this weight, that you do the work that needs to be done to get you moving forward in a timely manner toward your future. Second mound of wisdom here, look at this. This is really being in that place of, like I was saying, actually investing that pentacle. Like you have to invest your energy. You have to sign on to the path. So this is just to have that follow through, right? It's great to dream something into being, but this is about actually planting the seed, you know, taking the opportunity, running with it, and staying committed to the path, doing the work to bring it to a state of fruition, okay? It looks good. You could be dealing with an earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And then the final wisdom is to know when it really is worth holding your ground and taking a stand for something. And I don't know why, but it's coming through like this, so I'm going to bring it in. I think Sag, I think Aries, I think Leo. In this case, you got to fight for your right to party. I'm sticking to it.